guys, I'm back. My face is nice and clean, and that bamboo pore refining mask I really love. That was my second time using that mask. That would definitely be a purchase for me. Even after I'm done with it, I will definitely purchase it for the $36 price tag, because it's really good, and I would do that at least once or twice a week before I apply makeup. So we're gonna get into this makeup look now. We're gonna start with eyes. We're gonna be using the Athr Beauty palette. So this is a 10 shade palette, and I did some swatches on the back of my hand of a few of the colors. The coral shade called Desert Coral, the shade Desert Sand, the shade Ethereal, and the shade Sedona, and the shade Twilight. So to start off, I am going to put concealer on my lids today because I am out of eye primer. I was using the Arteza eye primer, but I'm out of that. So I'm going to use the TYNT Beauty Brightening Eye Cream Primer. I really like this primer because I really like this concealer because it's a concealer and eye cream all in one. So I'm going to take the concealer brush and put it on the brush and put it on my eyelid. And I'm only going to do one eyelid on camera like usual. This concealer brush is nice and flat, so it works perfectly for all over the lid. And any extra, I'm just going to put under my eyebrow and over the top just to carve it out. So I'm going to take the side that has no product and just add it over top of my eyebrow. And I'm carving them out before I add the Brow Air Volumizer because I want this to dry down just a tiny bit before I go in with the brow gel. And I'm also going to take the tip of this damp beauty blender, just the tip of it, to pounce this in a little bit over top of my eyebrow, just to make sure it's sticking down, and to blend it in. Just tapping motions. Don't swipe it with the sponge, just tap it with the sponge. Do it underneath where I carved out as well. Just tap it in. And do it some on the eyelid. I want it to dry down some. And while my eyelid is finished drying, got the inner corner. While my eyelid is finished drying down, we're gonna go in with the Kosas Airbrow. So here's the Kosas Airbrow. You get 3.7 grams or 12 fluid ounces in this. It says it has a triangle brush. Kinda see the brush there. It's a very fine. And I'm using my Cover Effect palette as my mirror. So I carved out the top and the bottom already. So I'm just going to run this through my brow. So I'm going to comb them in the shape of my brow. My brow goes in like an arch sort of shape. So start at the beginning where I want a little bit of color to darken up my brow. Like there. And then I'm going to go all the way over to the end and swipe some color in there, because this is where my brow, the tail end of my brow is just not as fluffy as the rest. Now I'm going to turn it vertically up like this to comb the shape of my brow from start to finish. Like follow the natural shape of the brow. And be gentle because the brush is a little rough. as you can see, as I comb my right brow, which would be on the left side of your guys' screen, it is laid down pretty flat compared to my left brow, which would be on the right side of your screen. Brow hairs are pretty sparse, and I can run my finger through it and make them even sparser on the left because there's no product in it. Close this back up because I'm going to use a completely dry spoolie now to sort of, we're going to take this completely dry spoolie. This has no product on it whatsoever, and I'm just going to press this in my brow. So underneath, I'm gonna press from the bottom, go all the way across, hold for like maybe 30 seconds all the way across to lay down my brow. And I'm pressing pretty firmly and holding it there for like 30 seconds just to make sure. And if this is too harsh of a brow for you, you can do it a lot less harsher than I did, but this is perfectly okay for me. Okay, brow is laid, and I like that. I do need to trim my brows soon, but for now it's fine. Now that concealer I put on as a primer should be dry on my eye. I'm going to take this crease brush and I'm gonna dip into the shade Desert Sand, which is this one right here. This palette does have kick up in it when you tap it, so make sure you tap off the excess. And remember, this palette doesn't have a mirror in it, so if you need to find another mirror to see what you're doing, do so. I'm just using the Cover FX palette as my mirror. So I'm gonna put this color in the inner corner of my crease and just I'm stamping it in first to get it in place, and then you can swipe to get it where you want it to go. Keep it close to your inner corner, close as you possibly can. Try only getting it in the crease. If you get a little bit on the lid, it's not going to matter because we're going to keep this close to the inner corner of the lid, just going back and forth to blend it out. Blend it down onto your inner corner. So follow the bridge, like the bridge of your nose, like right there. Want it to come down that far. Get it there. Now, on the outer edge of your crease, you're going to take, using the same crease brush, you're going to take this shade right here, which is Sedona, which is just a darker brown. And you're going to put that on the outer portion of your crease. Tap it off. I did not do that, so I started a little heavy, which is okay. I can blend it. Now start that darker brown where you ended your lighter brown, which was Desert Sand. Blend the darker brown into the Desert Sand color. Blend it till you think it's blended enough. Now I'm gonna take the same brush, wiping it off a little bit so the brown is pretty much gone. Or if you have one of those brush spot cleaners, that would be perfect for this. But I'm just dusting it off. And we're going to go into this coral shade, which is Desert Coral, this one right here. I'm gonna go into that one. And same crease brush, I haven't changed brushes yet. Dip it in there. But I found a good thing for this empty space in the palette. When you're tapping off your brush, the excess powder can fall into here since there's no mirror. So now that we tapped off that color, you're going to take this on the outer portion of your V, this right here, still on the crease, not on the lid. And you're going to stamp that there, focusing it also on your bottom lash line, focusing it inward. Don't flick it out, just focus it inward, close to your bottom lash line, but also blending it up into that last brown shade. Enough so they're blended enough together so it looks like a smoother transition, and you just want to keep it there. Windshield wiper motions up and down to get the outer V shape I'm looking for. We'll clean this up with a makeup wipe, so if it looks messy, don't worry about it. Making sure it's blended into the Desert Sedona color, the last brown we used. Enough so it looks like a smoother transition. Then we're going to take this Cover FX palette, which is we're going to use for highlighter later, but I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this angled brush right here, dip it into the Cover FX palette in the highlighter shade Blossom. Only the front side of the brush. And I'm going to trace, or try to trace, the outer portion of my crease with this color. If your line isn't perfect, you can always fix it up with concealer, which I know mine won't be. But you want to take the flat side of the brush to do that, and if you run out of color, just re-dip it. I'm not tapping this one off because it is a shimmer. I'm not going all the way across. I'm starting where the last crease color starts and down into the coral shade we just used. And you do have to build this up. So if it's not as bright as you want it to look, don't worry, it is buildable. Now that we have our highlighter shade on the lid, now we're going to focus on the actual lid and not the crease. Now I'm having a hard time with the lid because there's two colors that I want to use. I might use both of them. That would be Afterglow, which is the bottom shade, which is more like a mauve color, versus this shade right here called Sunset. I think I'm going to use both of them. So we're going to start with the mauve shade. I'm going to use my finger for this. So just rub your finger back and forth in the palette. And you get product on it, and here's what the mauve shade looks like. Now I'm only going to focus that on the inner corner portion of the lid. Wow, that is pretty. Like the inner, I'll say the inner third. If you take off some of the brown shade, don't worry. Now on the outer third of the lid, we're gonna go into Sun, which is a brighter color, like that. And put that on the outer third of the lid. That is very pretty. Now we're going to focus on the lower lash line. The lower lash line, I'm going to use that same. Make sure you get the sharper point of the brush, not the flat side like we used the first time. I want the sharper point. We're going to run this from the on the outer third, connecting it to the pink shade. Same coral shade that's on the outer V. Be careful not to poke yourself in the eye. Now with the same brush, after I wipe it off inside the palette, we're going to take the shade Desert Sand, which is the muted brown we used in the beginning. Dip that in, only getting it on the point of the brush and not the swatch. And we're going to fill in the inner portion of the lower lash line. Like I said, be careful not to poke yourself in the eye, and you're going to get fallout on your under eye. Apply the eyes first, and see, there's your under eye. It looks messy, but I'll clean it up after. Now for the inner corner, you need your finger. And I'm going to use this highlighter shade, middle shade, which is Sunset. This one right here. I'm just gonna rub my finger in there. Here's what Sunset looks like. And tap that onto my inner corner. And yeah, I did get myself in the eye, but not all the way in the eye. I just got my eyelash. And you can see it's a little bit messy. We're gonna wipe it. Now that this eye is done, I'm gonna go off camera, clean up this eye, do the other eye, and I'll be back to do complexion. Hi guys, I'm back now. Both eyes are done. Now let's get into complexion. For primer, we're going to be using the LYS Gripping Primer Serum. Okay, this primer is very liquidy, so be careful, like one squirt will do you. I'm just gonna rub it in my hand. The reason why I believe it's so liquidy is because it is supposed to be a serum. So you're gonna need like 30 to 60 seconds to let it dry. Don't forget your forehead. I'm just gonna rub the rest into my hand. I think I have enough. Still not grippy enough for me. Using for foundation today is a foundation stick from. We're gonna use the foundation stick from Tresinique. This is in the shade Tan Trifle Neutral. I think this shade could be a little warmer for me. It's in the neutral. Sometimes I wear neutral undertones, sometimes I wear warm undertones. It depends. This particular one I think could be a little bit warmer, but it works. So I'm just gonna pounce this into my face. Like, first, to get the product warmed up, I move it around a little bit, like back and forth, up and down on all parts, to then blend it in. The foundation stick for me has to be heated up. It has to feel the warmth of my skin for me to be able to work with it, in my opinion. If you can go straight in and blend out your foundation, be my guest. I haven't tried this with a brush yet, so I don't know how foundation performs with a brush, but I like it. The pubic bow, I like to swipe back and forth for a second, and then I take the beauty blender and go down like so, and then I pounce in. My cheeks, I just start pouncing. My nose, I like to go down. These are Persona lip liner in the shade 91210. So here's the lip liner. I'm just gonna line my lips with this. And where I don't have lip liner, I'm gonna take this Sophie and Mirabelle lipstick in the shade Topless. It's a pretty nude color. Here's the final look. I think everything in this Boxycharm was great. Let me know what was your favorite product. And remember, I'm always thinking of you. Sending my love, and bye for now.